Tone, thoughts?
So much of this is a stunner to me.
Well, $9 million a year.
Yes.
It's essentially I think it's like 2 years with a third-year option, 3 for 28. It's like, why couldn't we afford that guy?
Hey, we were getting crazy during the season, me included. I couldn't have been further from what actually happened.
You guys wanted to.
Well, when he was
part of the big four. He was part of the core four. Darius Garland, get the hell out of here.
Well, okay, I want to be clear. That was never me. I thought that was some of the silliest stuff during the Miami series.
That's true. That is, you weren't like.
But there were people making a case for Ty Jerome. Why do we even need Darius Garland? Let's go find some wings with that money and just roll the ball out with Ty Jerome, who is one of the most efficient guards in the NBA last year. The floater was historically good. And he was good in the Miami series, and then the Indiana series happened. And I didn't think the Indiana series was gonna doom him. I didn't think it meant that he was gonna get some terrible contract. But here we are. I gotta say, take out the fact that he's a multi-millionaire now. That's everybody in the NBA basically these days. $9 million a year. What was it?
Not about $9.5 million a year. It seems.
Holy cow!
Yeah. So we couldn't afford that.
Well, they could. They could have.
Did they want? So there's something getting bandied about here that we got to get figured out. So I don't know which one's which, because it says because the deal is a third-year player option, but when you first see the contract, you go, we couldn't afford that. And then I'm starting to hear some things. I heard Danny Cunningham yesterday on his podcast saying that possibly Ty didn't want to be here because of playing time. Mm-hmm. Because yes, and this is the dire situation, and maybe what $9 million a year really dire. But this is the situation of holding on to his contract or holding on to his career. Last year, you have 2 games where you play. Didn't he play 2 games last season and then he got hurt?
Yeah.
And then he was out for the rest of the year. So he plays 2 games last year. Then he has the entire year away, comes back, thought he played well this last season. Played well. We had him on the show. Good guest, whole deal. Nice enough guy. But he played exceedingly well, at least better than what we thought he was going to do. In the Miami series, people got a little bit crazy, and I know Indiana finished the wrong way. But if we're talking about offering minutes played, it does make some sense for Ty Jerome. Hey, I get a little bit of security, but I get a little bit of flexibility if I'm able to play and get more minutes. And then in 2 more years, I might be able to cash in even more. Because how old's Ty Jerome? It's not like he's been in the league forever.
27.
Okay, so this is not a 30.
He's turning 28 in a week.
All right, but still, it's not a 38-year-old man, and I don't know how much longer he does have in the NBA, so it makes sense for him. The playing time thing, like that, when I first heard playing time, I was like, what? Who gives an F about playing time with what type of money? But it makes sense because you can make more money. And I don't think the Cavs were going to be able to offer him possibly the type of playing time that he was going to get from the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, that all sounds like a great big fat spin to what it is, because I need to know whether or not he actually wanted to be here. I won't cuss him if he didn't want to be here. I can understand the business side of this in 2 years and betting on himself to a degree and all the other things, because you can make the same money with the Cavaliers, but is it a better long-term deal with yourself? Is it a better long-term investment to play with the Cavs, who are not going to be able to give you the minutes that probably the Memphis Grizzlies can give you?
I guess I'm really surprised a number of things here. First of all, had we have talked about this during the season, basically, we had talked about this during the Miami series, right? Mm-hmm. So 2 weeks before we ended up having to talk about it, had we have talked about it then, and I would have told you that Jerome is out, Merrill is in, I would have said, oh God, did Jerome sign like an $18 million per year contract?
That's what I would have thought.
If you would have then told me $9 million, I would have said, what?
When they signed Sam Merrill, or when it was reported that they were going to sign Sam Merrill long-term or longer term, my thought was, okay, well, Ty Jerome is going to be making somewhere in the neighborhood of $15 to $18 million a year, and that they weren't going to be able to afford that with where they're at. And then I'm hearing I see $9 million. I go, well, the Cavs could have swung that. Well, I understand there's penalties probably involved here, but good God.
Well, and in sports talk, I often say, and we went over this with Matt Derry yesterday, what were people saying at the time? Like when they traded Josh Naylor and when there was, all right, a little bit of a reorganization, what were we saying at the time? I want to make sure we know that, so we're not doing false outrage later, right? I love to do that in sports.
Well, I can't be outraged if I don't know if he wanted to be here or not.
Yeah,
so at first I wanted to be outraged, but if I'm hearing, like Mitch texted us last night, and then I'm hearing Danny where they're going, well, he might not have wanted to be here. It's like, well, I can't put a gun to the guy's head and make him sign a contract with the Cavs. So I got to get that figured out. If I figure out that he wanted to be here badly and the Cavs just said no, okay, well, I can use that against you next year if you don't have the type of players that can help. Because as we wake up this morning, I think that a Cavs fan has to wonder, A, are they as good of a basketball team as they were last year?
Right now, right now on paper they are not.
Okay, so
that doesn't mean they can't. Evan Mobley takes off.
Next thing, what can they do? Well, that's Evan Mobley. Yeah. What can they do to supplement the roster? That's the other part of it. Now we can jump into that. We got plenty of time to chew the fat on that. Mm-hmm. But what can they do to help? Because as you look at it right now, what was it? FanDuel that had the odds out. I guess the Knicks have the better odds in the Eastern Conference now to win the East going into next year. Which I don't know. It's July 1st, so I don't.
And not like any of these teams have material. Like, wait, who did you say was number one right now?
The Knicks.
The Knicks. Who's their head coach?
Nobody.
They're talking to Mike Brown. Apparently,
I don't know if that was a real thing, so I gotta hold back.
Who was it? Who?
I don't know if it was real. I don't know.
You might as well say it.
Yeah. What was the rumor?
Tell you if it's real or not.
All right, guys. It was my birthday weekend. Mm-hmm. Not that I really celebrated, but we were out and about. Is Don Staley? Were they really planning on talking to Don Staley?
I didn't even see that.
I haven't heard that.
Mike Brown 2 times.
Okay,
I've heard Mike Brown is getting a second interview.
Okay, that's the second time. Okay,
New York Post. So I don't know anything about Don Staley.
The New York Post did.
Yep.
Well, they're also saying that Deshaun Watson has taken Shedeur Sanders under his wing.
Did they say anything about any mail she has received?
They are talking about Tom Brady and Sidney Sweeney.
If I send a thank you card to Don Staley again, will she coach our WNBA team
Probably.
in 2028?
I think you have to.
Guys, this is how I bring winners to Cleveland. You understand this?
It's going to be expensive, but we have the money.
Dan Gilbert's going to go to her, and she's going to go, they have that nice radio guy that sent me that thank you card. Yeah.
It's all the little things.
That.
All this is to say, Kenny, like
Champions Post 2028.
I cannot believe that one Indiana series, right?
Yeah.
That's everything. Because if that's everything, then we got a lot of guys we got to get rid of.
Well,
and if we're going to use, we had a Knicks series 3 years ago that was disastrous.
That's why
we had a Magic series that they took us 7 games. We had no business going 7 games with that team. So if we're just going to say, hey, small sample size, we're going to use it to make these determinations on players. And there's a lot of Cavaliers that would be on the way out today.
So if they weren't going to offer him, go ahead.
Well, is there an apron calculator? Because that was the only thing I was hearing about Ty Jerome was, and reading things from weeks ago, and then Daryl would bring it up that if you pay him $15 million, it's anywhere from $60 to $80 million in tax.
But yes, that would have been the case. Owen
if you're paying him $9 million, what are the taxes?
That's if they took him on along with Sam Merrill. But if it was a decision.
Either or.
It was a decision. This gets very interesting to me, and I'd love to hear the Cavs.
Either or, to when people want Ty Jerome.
I thought that would be clear cut. Like if you would have asked me that at any point during the season, who would you rather have, Ty Jerome or Sam Merrill? Nobody would have said Sam Merrill.
Do you feel like Sam Merrill impacted any winning this year?
I'm sure he did at some point. They won 64.
Feel like that? I'm not saying
no.
I'm sure we can come through a box score somewhere.
By the way,
and find
Sam Merrill also did not shoot it well in the playoffs. In particular, did not shoot it well in the Indiana series.
They invented something here called the Cavalanche, right? Where they even bought a snow machine, and that was not all Ty Jerome's doing, but Ty Jerome was a big part of swinging that stuff because it's when the bench bunch came in and he led them and there
scored
was
no drop off.
Yeah.
Well, I just got to know.
No drop off from Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland when Ty Jerome came into the game. It was limited minutes, and I don't think you want to be handing over your team's like starting point guard.
You guys want to
duties to Ty Jerome.
If you guys want to find out an answer for sure whether or not he wanted to be here, either you can have him on tomorrow. The guy who covers the Cavs for Cleveland.com.
I thought you were going to say Ty Jerome. I'd love to have Ty Jerome.
Let's get Ty Jerome.
We have his number. We can get Ty. We could try to get him on. I don't know if he'll come on right now.
Did we try? Mitch, you have his phone number.
I mean, well, ever since George got traded, he's been persona non grata. We've been begging him to come on. Maybe Ty would like to come on and explain his side of things if he wanted to. That'd be great. Or you know what? If you wanted to today, I'll sit out a segment and you can talk to the for the good of the show, for the good of Cleveland sports fans. I'll sit out a segment and you have the guy who covers the Cavs if he wants to, because it's very odd to me, and I'm not going to shoot my mouth off about him right now, because you would say, well, if you're picking anybody, you're picking Ty Jerome over Sam Merrill. You're absolutely right. But if he don't want to be here, he don't want to be here. If he feels that it's a better long-term investment for himself to get probably the same amount of money, but also get more minutes to be able to show whatever he can do, so he can avoid being either a Euro player or a league minimum player, then fine, go right on ahead and do so. I can't make him play.
Here's what I don't think. I do not think that Ty Jerome passed up a bunch more money.
No.
A player like
Ty, had to be comparable,
who had a significant injury that cost him an entire season in the NBA. People thought that was it. People thought he may never play again in the NBA. He was borderline trying to stick when he got the contract to begin with. Mm-hmm. When he was finishing up at Golden State, a guy like that's not passing up. Like, let's say the Cavs were offering $3 million more over 3 years with a team option. There's no way he's passing up $9 million guaranteed.
No.
Based on what he signed for.
Exactly.
Like, I just can't. Playing time or what? Like, also you can make the case if you're Ty, like, there's going to be more playing time in Cleveland down the road. Maybe not more than Memphis, just because of the Ja situation. You never know what's going on with Ja. But in Cleveland, like, Darius has had his injuries. Donovan Mitchell, they already tried to load manage last year. Who's to say they wouldn't be doing that more? Like, there's going to be playing time for Ty Jerome here. Now, I realize they drafted, Proctor, and they have Craig Porter Jr. Who cares? Like, Ty Jerome's better than those guys right now. I understand Tyrese Proctor he was a 49th pick in the second round. Like, I should say 49 overall.
Yeah. 216-474-0092. Aramis in West Park. You're first up on the Fan. Hello.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
We're doing well. Go right on ahead.
Listen, man, it's dereliction of duty, really. If this is squarely on the GM's back, if he said, you know what, this is the better player, we're keeping him over him, he failed. Absolutely failed. I feel like the Browns
hold on. Just a moment. Stay with me, Aramis. I ain't gonna run you off yet. My God.
Aramis, Ken.
Aramis, I'm sorry.
We've been through this for the last 15 years, but
we ain't been around for 15 years. All right.
I've been listening to you since we used to do the show in the evenings.
Aramis.
Yep.
Say that sentence again, picking Sam Merrill over Ty Jerome. Say it real quick.
He's the better player. Ty Jerome's the better player. If he had to choose between player
Yes, if it's common sense to you, why wouldn't it be common sense to Kobe Altman? That's why I have to believe that that Ty Jerome don't want to be here, Aramis.
Okay, well, listen, I was trying to say, if this is squarely on the GM, if he had to choose between the two players and he made his choice, right, thinking he's the better player, it's on the GM, then he failed. But if Jerome didn't want to be here and the Cavs knew that, then it's no conversation here to be had. He's gone. That's it.
So are they better or worse than they were before?
They're worse.
Yes. How do they get better?
Yeah, I don't know, Ken. I don't know. You tell me.
Because, the first thing I'd think of, Aramis, thank you very much for the call. I mean, where do we get better on the margins? Is it Al Horford at 39 years old? He ain't 40. He's aged like a fine wine. How do we get better on the margins? Could Al Horford be brought in and then you move who, which is who people might not know. Jared Allen? Can you finagle something there and put Al Horford there at 39 years old and force Evan Mobley to go, hey, it's time to leave the nest, young man. Let's go.
Yeah, look,
sink or swim.
Al Horford is the perfect playoff player. We've seen it. We've seen how awesome that dude is in the playoffs. It's just I've also been waiting for Al Horford to fall off a cliff. He hasn't done it yet. So
why not?
Is it going to be this year? Like, that's the only thing with a guy at his age who's going to be turning. Yeah, he's going to play this whole year at 39 until
40
the finals.
Game 1 of the finals.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at Kobe Altman or Mike Gansey yet.
He only played in 60, 65 games. All right, he's been semi-durable.
Yeah, that's not bad. If they went and they got Al Horford and we gave up Ty Jerome, like, all right, okay. I got a lot of respect for Al Horford. He's had a very fine career.
Oh, this third act of his career has been awesome.
Yes. Back to the phones. Larry in Cleveland. Hello.
What's going on, guys?
Hi, Larry.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand what y'all saying, but I don't feel like we're a worse team. I feel like they didn't pick Merrill over Jerome. They picked Lonzo Ball and Proctor over Ty Jerome.
Ooh, well, yeah, Tyrese Proctor did, but Lonzo Ball's in.
Listen to me. Listen to me, though.
All right.
Listen to me, though.
All right.
You can only pick once or maybe twice in the draft, so I don't really care how they got picked. They went with athletic guards. Ty Jerome is not that. He was getting cooked in the playoffs last year, and the Cavs looking at it differently. They went with athletic guards, guys that can fight through picks and stuff. And as far as Sam Merrill go, he's a better shooter, and defensively, he might be better than Ty Jerome. So I'm not really too much worried about it. I don't feel like the Cavs are a worse team. I feel like they're about even, maybe a little bit better, and we'll just see what they do as far as going on with the trade.
I mean, Sam has never shot the three as well as what Ty Jerome did this year. Plus, Sam can't create his own shot.
My issue is I'm not saying that they're picking one over the other. I don't know if they had the choice. How many people have said over the last 8 hours that, well, we don't know if the Cavs actually had a choice in the matter. All right, well, until I find out, I'm under the assumption because so many people are saying it, Larry, I'm under the assumption that Ty Jerome decided to go with the money, which is fine, which is I'm sure the Cavs could have matched $9.5 million a year, whatever the hell it amounts to. The money, but also the minutes, so he can make more money with a player option in 2 more years because they have it's a 3-year deal, but that 3rd year I believe is a player option.
Let me ask you this, Lenny. Like Lonzo Ball,
Larry,
sorry about that. On paper, I shouldn't even say on paper because unfortunately Lonzo just hasn't been healthy. But I'm with you that if Lonzo was healthy and it was the Lonzo from like 4 years ago, that is a playmaker, that is a better defender. I'm with you on all of that. He's a creator. I love that in theory. What are the odds we get to there? What are the odds he makes it to the end of the season?
Well, with the way Kenny plays his rotations, if we can get him to be healthy for 15 to 20 minutes, I think that's all Lonzo needs.
It'd be awesome.
If we can get him 15 to 20 minutes and get him throughout the season and get him to the playoffs, then, I mean, it's fair game at that point.
Larry, thank you very much for the call. I would think of the same way. Yeah, go ahead.
I guess, did I misspeak yesterday, Kenny, when I said I would not bet on Lonzo Ball being available by the end of the season? I think that is such a tough bet because it's the knee, it's the wrist. I mean, a chronic situation in the knee. He played 35 games last year, 35 games the year before, 55 the year before that. Just been a tough bet. Again, if he were healthy, it'd be no question. I would love the prospects of having Lonzo.
I don't think they picked anybody over anybody. I think that with Lonzo Ball, one, you needed to facilitate a trade because you had to get Isaac Okoro out of here. It's not working, and that's on Kobe Altman. It wasn't working. He's a 5th overall pick. He's not been good. Okay, there's been flashes here and there of anything, but it's not been worth anything. So you had to get something that has some upside out of a guy that you're seeing the very best that he can offer, and basically that's running around with his arms flailing away. So no one's picking Lonzo Ball over anybody. It's not picking Sam Merrill over Ty Jerome. I would say that 98% of people would pick Ty Jerome over Sam Merrill for what each bring to the floor. Mm-hmm. But if I got Danny and I got others who are saying, hey, man, it's probably going the other way where Ty Jerome decided, okay, well, then my hands are tied in the matter. Until I find out otherwise, because if we find out otherwise, that they decided to go with Sam Merrill, okay, then I can watch this season like a hawk. And if Sam Merrill goes out there and sucks up the room and Ty Jerome with more minutes, ends up being a difference maker for the Memphis Grizzlies, well, then, yeah, I'm going to have to call that out now, aren't I? Cavs fans should as well.
I think the tough part of this, though, is just hinging all of this because the caller said at the start, wait, don't forget about Lonzo Ball. I just get nervous that this hinges on Lonzo Ball being healthy and available come April. March and April.
That's not a good plan.
That's a tough bet.
Unless you decide to sit him out the entire year.
Right.
I mean, honestly, do you believe in his shooting enough that he doesn't have to get warmed up throughout the season?
Well,
his
he needs
shooting, consistent playing time.
He's not been a consistent shooter. He has been a consistent playmaker.
I think it highlights more the lack of market for Isaac Okoro than it does anything else. And that is still, by the way, a knock on the Cavs because they drafted the guy 5th overall. Now, I know that's hindsight, but that's part of the deal. If we do it with the Browns, we sure as hell have to do it with the Cavs. 216-474-0092. Lenny and Lyndhurst, you're next up on the Fan.
Hey, guys. It's Evan in Lyndhurst, but my phone was breaking up. I was going to agree with it exactly with the last caller, Lonzo Ball. I mean, when you got him, you weren't going to sign Ty Jerome. Maybe you would still give him the $9 million, but he ain't going to come here and play 10 minutes a night.
No.
I would like to. Oh God, that's my point. It was so good too. Oh well. All right, thanks guys.
All right. What happened?
I think he lost Trey's thought.
Oh, I thought he said
It
something.
eluded him.
I thought he said something like there was a fight outside or something like that. I had no idea. I can't say the Cavs. I can't say the Cavs are better. I don't know how much worse they are. Again, these are marginal decisions. Now, I'm looking forward to maybe the possibility of Larry Nance is a possibility there. Al Horford is a possibility there for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like there's things that you can do to possibly bring in guys. The Al Horford thing is intriguing. I know we talked about that in the last segment. I'll say it, and maybe you feel differently about it. If he's playing 60 games last year, and I know he just turned 39 years old. He's long in the tooth, but this is part of it. If I can get something with Al Horford coming here, could then that maybe grease the rail for a Jared Allen move that can help in a position where maybe Ty Jerome wasn't able to help? Well, am I able to do something like that?
Yeah, so it's a great question. The one thing I would caution is that Jared Allen has been like the essence of durability, right? He has been, say what you want about the playoffs and the things we don't like. He is a lock, in the regular season to be able to not just play, but play every single night. So to lose that, be a bit of a gamble on Al Horford, who, like I said, he's played 60 games back-to-back years, but, 39 years old. Mm-hmm. How much of a strain would you want? I mean, again, you're depending to go into the season, depending on Lonzo Ball and 39-year-old Al Horford, when you would send your Iron Man out. Again, I get what you're saying.
That doesn't sound good.
To bring in what?
No, you're right.
You'd be saying to bring in a wing presence?
Yeah, because you would put – everybody wants to trade Darius, and I keep telling everybody, guys, it's much easier said than done for you guys because you're mad at Darius Garland. Who is going to trade their wing for our undersized guard? And that seems to stop that conversation. But I think you just stopped my conversation there because I'm going to go, wait a minute, I'm going to put my regular season into the hands of a 39-year-old but who's been, yes, a durable player for 39 years old, but him and Lonzo Ball, that's a scary proposition for anybody. Now, this is under the premise that if I trade Jared Allen, I'm going to get something back in return. I don't know what that something back is yet, because I think it's easier to trade Jared Allen than it is Darius Garland, especially with the salary and the positions that they play. Because my entire goal, what's our goal? Our goal is to win, but we also have to thread the needle here a little bit because our goal is to win. How are we going to win? Well, we have to keep developing Evan Mobley. So Evan's got to rise to the occasion. So when I look at Darius Garland's injury, I say that could be a blessing because you're going to have to run that offense more through Evan than you ever did with Darius now. And then by the time that Darius comes back, he's probably going to have to get used to something like that. So it's naturally going to force your offense to do it. At the same time, if I have Darius coming back and I don't have that option with Jared Allen, well, I'm still going to have a force with Evan Mobley, and I can get a savvy vet in Al Horford who's going to be able to help out in the postseason as well. So I'm trying to look at it glass half full, but boy, when you put the ages and the injuries in there, I have to give you a lot of leeway on that because that is a scary situation.